Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals. All right, y'all, we're back with This Week in Real Estate, where we're putting the prime in interest rates.
Today's a big day for interest rates.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. We got a good show on tap today.
Yeah?
Yeah, we do.
I'm not prepared.
I know.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
We got a good show on tap.
Why is this thing crooked? Is it supposed to be crooked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right on.
Trent's found a better angle.
I see.
We got a guess.
Does it make me less fat?
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
to Trent's point, we have a guest today. So if there was ever a day for us to come in not super prepared, today was a good day to do that.
That's
because
right.
we can fill some time with.
I see him.
Awesome
Phillip.
guests.
What's up, dude?
Hey, if you guys have been watching this show and sticking around to the end, the last couple of weeks you've heard Trent give a shout out to Phillip Byard, and so today we're going to actually bring him on the show and you're going to hear from him. He's
Super pumped.
Member of the 1200 Club of Spread the Positive and doing some great things. So can't wait for that part of the show.
I'll tell you what, at the beginning, before we came on, a little bit of like last minute show prep, I learned things.
You did
in like 2 minutes, so I can't even wait to see what the whole segment's going to be about. It's going to be great.
It's awesome.
So anyway, my name's Jonathan Harmon with J. Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams, and this is, of course, Bryan Nale with Premise Mortgage. And I walked in, swaggered in with this amazing shirt.
Swaggered in.
And as I walked in, I heard Bryan giving Missy sage advice. And I'm like, that's my guy right there. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I was going to jump in, but I'm like, nah, he's got this.
I mean, it's my realm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just think I know everything. That's all. Ask my wife. She tells me that all. She keeps me humble. So anyway, all right. Headlines.
Let's go right to it, Trent.
Back to you.
So the reason I'm so excited for this show is I have a very good headline.
Me too. It's right there.
Yeah. Consumer Price Index came in this morning, and it was lower than expectations, and that's just fantastic. The bond market instantly rallied and is doing great things for folks who have an interest rate that they have not locked yet. So, really good news out of that today. The Fed is going to release their comments from their meeting this afternoon, and I think the Fed's going to have some dovish things to say given the inflation numbers.
Some what?
Today. Dovish. That means good. So dovish means lower rates are coming. They'll say things that the markets are going to like.
Is this like named after a little bird?
Yes,
Okay.
because if the Fed comes out with hawkish comments,
that
means bad things are coming.
I see.
So hawkish means ooh, we don't like. Dovish means pretty little dove. It's like bear and bull markets, but more like comments instead of actual movement. So
and more feathery.
Yeah. Yes.
This is where we are today, boys and girls. So okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, that is good news. And so, the Fed's going to make an interest rate decision today, and I think the decision is going to be not to make a cut. But the inflation reports that come out today might lead them to say, hey, we still think that we're on track for cuts by the end of this year, early next year.
So the real what we've been talking about this whole since we started the show really is that there has to be a little bit of pain. There has to be a little bit of pullback in order for that to happen. So if CPI dropped, then that means that there's been job cuts, there's been some other stuff behind the scenes to make that drop a little bit, right?
Actually, that doesn't track right now because the jobs number that came, and maybe it'll be interesting to see if the Fed talks about last week's unemployment number, but the job gains last week were strong, and the fact that the mortgage market and because bonds did not react well to that, but the mortgage rates did not follow bonds, the 10-year in step last Friday. So mortgage rates got a little worse on Friday, but not as bad as the 10. They didn't react as strongly as the 10-year did. So that kind of narrowed that spread a little bit. And so it's interesting, though, because we talked about that a lot. I don't think a lot of people have felt the pain other than the inflation. I think our budgets are all a little bit tighter, so we're all probably pulling back. But I'm not seeing unemployment I'm not seeing job loss. So if we're able to maintain this employment level that we're at and still see inflation pull back a little bit,
That's the soft landing.
that sounds a lot like the soft landing.
Yeah.
It's just taking a lot longer to navigate that plane in.
Yeah, yeah.
Than anybody thought it might.
Well, if that works, then I will say I'm sorry to the Federal Reserve.
Is there wood under this? Is this table of wood?
It is.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah.
That is wood.
Yeah, this is antique wood. This is
Why
vintage.
do we cover it up with this black?
I don't know, but that's all right.
All the stuff underneath it.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad.
All right.
All right. Yes, it's real. Let's do this.
Oh boy. Yes, it is real. This is very applicable for Phil. I've been saving this one.
Hey, you know what? Come on. Oh,
Yeah.
that is lovely. Would you like to weigh in on this
Come
picture?
on, Phil. Come on in.
Come on and take your seat a little bit early.
Okay.
Phillip Byard, ladies and gentlemen, Music City Hardscape.
How you doing, folks? I'm glad to be here.
This is a lounge area. This is from an MLS, from a listing.
Okay.
And this was obviously a featured photo on that listing. So it's obvious that they've crafted a high quality garden lounge area. It's got professional hardscape done here.
Sure.
The throw pillows really soften it up.
It really does. What do you think?
I see 4 mediums in this modern art masterpiece. Definitely do. You got your pillows. You got your gray Brico blocks in the back.
Yeah.
You've got your anchor diamond Belgard blocks on the right that are the reddish color. On the left side, I think those are Allen blocks. And then these top ones, these smaller blocks, I think those are paved stone, and they came from Home Depot.
Yeah, and then don't forget the caps.
Oh, the caps.
That really helps the weather though, because you know you're not going to have the
I think
erosion.
that the limestone gravel with the weeds in it really brings the picture together in a wholeheartedly type of.
Well, it ties the two together because you do have the planted garden in between here.
Yeah.
Well, that was obviously meant to do that.
Yeah.
They
Safety
poured it.
and safety's taken into consideration too. If somebody wanted to stand up on top of this and jump, they could only do it one direction because there's a fence behind it.
Well, it
That's
has
a-
utility
that's a very good
as
point.
well, because it doubles as a staircase.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
And you take those pillows off, and that's a good staircase right there. I
Yeah.
go up that.
This steps look very stable.
He's the best color commentator. We got to have him on all of them. That's fantastic. But they did. Did you see that they reversed the direction for the caps and the foundation block there?
I think either they were trying to make the plants grow out of there, or they didn't know what they were doing at all.
I don't think that's the case. Come on, come on,
Come on, Phil.
This is lovely. Thank you. This is a good one.
I've
That's
been
a good one.
saving
Very
this
good.
one.
I like that one a lot.
That was perfect for Phil.
All right, just stick around. We've got a couple more little sections, and then we'll bring you on anyway. So we definitely needed your commentary on that.
That was perfect.
So all right, market movers. Let's do this.
Market Back to you.
Market mover section, Philip. Just so you know, this is stuff that we should be seeing in the next week or so. That's going to help move the real estate market, interest rate market, etc., one way or the other.
Okay.
But this is what you should be watching.
Right.
Okay.
So what do you got, Jonathan?
So I don't know how you're going to watch this one, but I have a Murphy's Law for my market mover right now, and that is that anytime that I go on vacation, thus the shirt, by the way, anytime that I go on vacation, my business freaking explodes.
Absolutely.
So that anytime that I'm not here, it's when I would really like to be here, and when I'm slow, I'm just slow, and it's very depressing.
Well, congratulations. It's a great decision to go on vacation.
Yeah, it's helping your business
Yeah,
too.
I love
We got
it.
like 4 things under contract with you, and anyway, so it's going to be great. I've got a great team, Missy and Trent and John Michael and Kendall, all going to help out with all the different things going on. But kind of bouncing it back to you.
All kidding aside,
Yeah.
we've talked about this before, but seasonality is back, and
100%.
And for a long time, it was always summer's going to be the busy time. and that went away in 2020. It was just busy year round for 2.5 years. You mentioned the stuff that we have under contract. I've got other things going too, and I see it with my team.
Wait, you use other realtors?
Other realtors use me.
Oh, okay.
So I see it just across the board. I think that we're seeing. I've got a lot of people right now that are in multiple offer situations.
A ton.
Some of them are winning. Some of them are on the fence. We're still waiting to find out. Some of them are trying to get their name into the ring. I had somebody yesterday that I spent a lot of time with in the afternoon, and they were like, "Hey, they've told us offers are due by 5 because they already have one, and they want to make a decision tonight." Well, then they got so many other offers. They said, "You know what? We're going to keep these things open until 5 o'clock tomorrow." What does that sound like? That
sounds like 2020.
That sounds like a bidding war, and so. And that's with rates where they are right now. So I think that's more of a sign of seasonality than a long-term implication. So keep that in mind if you're thinking of listing. You may not want to wait till the fall.
We got to do it.
Get it on there now. And then at the same time, if you're thinking about buying, maybe just maybe, you're going to have less inventory to choose from in the fall, but you may find better deals in the fall. Yeah. Who knows?
That's out of the door at this point.
But if you're not buying because you have a certain school district you want to start in the fall, and you're not worried about any kind of urgency, then you might find some more attractive finance or more attractive contract terms in the fall than you might find right now.
Phillip, is there seasonality to your business? I mean, do you do more business in the summer, or do you do more business in the wintertime, people getting ready for the summer?
Well, my business really, really heats up around February, March. We start getting slammed with the pond cleanings, and that stays busy solid until June. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're in a little bit of a lull, which I welcome.
Yeah, because it's hot. It's literally heating up.
And that thing you said a second ago about going on vacation and the phone ringing, I just got back from Dauphin Island, Alabama. We were down there fishing, having a blast. And I played a round of golf when I was down there. And I said, watch this. As soon as I start playing golf, just like last year, my phone will start ringing. Every time. I took my first swing and the phone rang. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna put that on silent.
Yeah,
so we got
you
our
handed somebody your phone and they handed you a beer, right? Yeah. Yep. I hear you, man. And it's I'm not complaining about it. It's at this point, 14 years in the business, it's comical.
Yeah.
Well, having the wintertime, especially, we slow down, really screech to a halt, just before Christmas. Sometimes, like 2 years ago, I don't know what was going on, but I'd say from COVID, then the year after COVID, and one more year, 2022, we stayed slammed all through the winter.
I think a lot of businesses did.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the home businesses, because people. I mean, number one, our economy was stellar.
Interest rates were so low, people could get HELOCs, and what we're starting to see now is a little bit of pain from those HELOCs that people maxed out or to put large balances on.
Yeah, because they were at 3% or 4%, and now they're 9%.
If you were tied to prime, and prime was 2.5 or 3, I mean, golly, I don't know how low prime got, but
low.
Yeah, your rates were really low.
I mean, we're dealing with the same thing with our HELOC as well. So
same.
Everybody's feeling the pressure from that for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so awesome. I think we're ready to move on to Shiny Penny there.
Let's do it.
Back to you.
So this one's me, huh?
It's all you.
All right.
The one thing you prepared, right?
Yep, that's it. So here's my shiny penny. We're about to list our house. Yeah. So I'm taking my own advice, and we're going to put. A lot of you might know this. I got married 2.5 years ago, and or is it 1.5 years ago? I did this the other day, didn't I? Yeah. Anyway, okay.
You opened a brewery 2.5 years ago. You got married 1.5.
Dude, it all runs together. Anyway, we've been together for a long time, so it's not like Anyway, I'm sorry, Lacey. I love you. So anyway, we're gonna get her what was her house on the market, and we're moving into one of our rental houses, and about to do a big renovation on my Main Street house, on our Main Street house.
I'm so happy for you guys, and just excited for you. It's good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, we found a contractor, and that has been a challenge. And not that they're bad, but if you think about it, when you interview a contractor, it is a lot like dating, because you're going to be married to that person for the span of your project.
That is true.
And you got to be able to communicate. You got to be able to grasp the same vision, and then articulate how you're going to accomplish that vision. That contractor has to delegate the things. They also have to keep, like in our case, we're very hands-on and want to know what's going on.
It's like dating in the fact that it goes both ways too. Some
Absolutely.
contractors might look at a client and say, we're not going to work together. Well, and I don't even want to go down this road with you.
Yeah. Some of the best business decisions you make are the ones you don't work with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, 100%.
And you sell the person when you first meet them. If you your work and your reputation as a contractor have to back up who you are as a person.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In the first 5 minutes that you meet someone, that is the time where you connect with them. And if you can connect, then you guys have that relationship. That relationship started, and you go forward from there. And if you can't, then I usually know it, right away.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just as much a job, or it's just as much a I don't know what I'm looking for. It's the customers got to protect themselves, but the contractors also got to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lacey looked at me the other day. We were sitting there talking to our guy, and he said, I don't remember what he said. He said something, and she looked at me. She goes, "Oh my God, he's you." And I'm like, "Yeah." So it was awesome. All right. We're on to the guest segment. It's Philip's turn.
Well, we've had Philip on for a few minutes, and I don't think we've really introduced Philip and what he does.
No,
and what his companies
I think it's time.
So, Trent, do we have segue for yes?
I mean, not really.
I think you just did it.
Yeah, you
So
just
we
did
just
it.
go, yeah.
Rock on.
All right. Philip, tell us, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background, your history, who you are, and then what your businesses do.
Okay, yeah. I'm Phillip Byard. I'm a Davidson County Master Gardener. I own Music City Hardscapes and Music City Pond Pros. Both are subsidiaries of a larger company, Hardscapes by the Yard, Nashville. I started that business in 2013. So I've been in business for 11 years now, 12 years now. Wait, no. What year is it?
24.
11 years.
I hear you,
Quick
man.
math.
And so it's been, it's been a good road. It's been up and it's been down and it's been even. And right now we're pretty even. And that's great. I have a great young family. I've got a 8-year-old boy, Liam, and a 4-year-old girl, Clara Page, and my wife, Marissa. We, love our family. We value family life. And, my business is a family business. And I just, I feel like I'm in a great place.
So how did you get into hardscape?
Okay.
And pond, really, but.
Yeah, so I was in the U.S. military, in the Army from 2000 to 2004.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Yep. And in 2004, I got out and didn't know what I was going to do. Like I told Trent in my introductory segment, I was headed down to Pensacola to get a job on a shrimp boat. And I stopped in Atlanta to see some.
Sorry, I just
Everyone
went.
did.
I just went to Bubba.
Everybody. Lieutenant Dan, right? Lieutenant Dan, he already did it after he got out of the Army.
Yeah.
He went on a shrimp boat.
Yeah, no. I just went.
It's
Shrimp
a good
gumbo,
living.
shrimp.
I didn't really have a plan, but I grew up in the my first jobs ever were in the green industry. Worked for a nursery. I worked for a golf course. I worked for a landscaper in Alabama, putting in plants, grunt work. But all of that, working for my dad. I worked for my dad. He would have me hauling loads of mulch up and down the hill, as a young boy. I feel like all of those experiences combined. And even though I didn't have a plan when I was getting out of the Army, I stopped by Atlanta to see some buddies, and I just never left. And so I met a guy in Atlanta that helped me get my business started. And I had my business in Atlanta for 8 years. I met my wife there in Atlanta, Marissa, and she got the opportunity to come up and open a business here in Nashville. And about 6 months later, I followed her up here. I just kind of dropped everything. I was still doing projects back in Atlanta, and I was living here, and I worked for a big landscape company. and going back to Atlanta to do projects, and I started getting projects here in Nashville. And then in 2013, we got married. We went to Costa Rica for our honeymoon. It was awesome. But while we were gone, the company I was working for lost its biggest account. And so when I came back from Costa Rica, I lost my job.
Oh, man.
And so that was my introduction to married life. So when I lost my job, that ignited a fire in me. You know, I've got a family now. I'm about to have kids. I'm gonna make this thing happen. And so I threw my unemployment money in and created Hardscapes by the Yard in Nashville and bought my LLC. And the rest is history. Over time, you know, we started out doing hardscapes. We were building stone patios and paver patios, walkways, fire pits, walls, outdoor kitchens. We were doing boulder installations, you know, doing really cool stuff. Did some water features, and then I just started getting water feature repair. Started getting sent to me, and we started fixing leaks, and then we became known for being the guys that were fixing the leaks in town. And now the phone is blowing up, you know, with leak repairs, and I'm still getting those hardscape jobs too.
Were you a master gardener before you started the hardscape design business?
I did it the same year that I started it. Okay. So I was a class of 2013.
How does your knowledge of gardening and being a master gardener help you kind of differentiate yourself from anybody else that's doing hardscapes?
Well, you know, the master gardener class is 9 weeks. Is pretty intense, and then you've got to log I think 40 volunteer hours within the horticulture industry, or within the, you know, so it's difficult to get it, you know, and technically you're supposed to volunteer in order to keep it, and you know, I do some volunteer work here and there to try to hold on to it, but I feel like that training alone taught me a lot about what to expect in this zone. And, you know, coming from Atlanta, a lot of the plants that worked in Atlanta don't work here. You know, especially when we got huge freezes like 2 years ago when everything died in the city, you know. A lot of that stuff came back, but a lot of it didn't.
Or it came back bad.
Yeah, different, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, I'm glad you differentiated that you were working for a different company in Atlanta, because I was going to say it only makes sense that you moved Music City Hardscape from Atlanta to Nashville. You know, it's like it was destiny to have a business called Music City Hardscape in Atlanta, and you moved it. But anyway, it was a lame joke. Time's passed.
So you mentioned that you do outdoor kitchens. What is, when you're doing an outdoor kitchen installation, when you're meeting with clients, what are something that, a couple things maybe that they don't think of that you continuously see, maybe like, hey, they don't think of doing this, and it's always a good idea to do it?
Yeah, so with an outdoor kitchen, having a plan is number one. There's a couple businesses in the city, Hearth and Grill Shop over on Thompson Lane, and Embers Fire Pits down in Cool Springs. They've got all the stuff you can choose from, but I would say getting an idea of what equipment you want to have ahead of time before the contractor comes is number one. You know, I'll get a call out for, hey, I want to do an outdoor kitchen, and I'll say, well, you want to have what do you want to have? You want to have a big green egg in there? You know, they're like, so I want to have a smoker, and I want to have a gas grill. Well, at that point, we've got to pick a gas grill, and you know, and having all of that stuff already kind of start thinking about exactly what you want. You know, and with the gas grill side on putting in an outdoor kitchen, you want a gas grill insert as opposed to a standalone grill.
Right.
And you want to probably use natural gas instead of having to swap out propane tanks all the time.
Exactly. So if you have gas at your house, that's a good idea. You know, to think about the fact that you're going to have that gas line ran to the back.
And if you have propane, then you want to still run a gas line, but you want to set a bigger propane tank somewhere else, probably.
Exactly.
Instead of changing out the little.
Exactly. And usually that stuff, that gas stuff falls on an HVAC certified guy or a certified plumber.
Yeah.
So
Do you guys do design work as well? Do you have those certifications to do that?
We do some design work. If you're looking for a full blown landscape design, I'd usually refer customers over to my friend Dalton Quigley with Quigley's Irish Landscapes. He's a top notch designer.
Plant selection, all of that stuff, indigenous stuff that
and then
survive.
he'll send it back to me once he's got it all designed up, and we'll put it all in.
You know, your story really resonated with me. Even the Atlanta connection, believe it or not, I taught for a year down in Powder Springs, Georgia, so northwest of Atlanta,
next to Marietta.
Yeah, that's right. And moved back up here, taught high school for a little while, and then I got fired from teaching. Don't worry, folks, it did not make the papers. It was nothing.
It's a rite of passage getting fired from somewhere.
Well, and I read a book called 48 Days to the Work You Love. And one of the things in that book is that they talk about, what do you have a passion for? Who are you? Right. And I am a teacher, naturally. That's just what I do. And then what do you have experience in already? Right. What do you have some life experience in? And then from there, they say, okay, and then what job that encompasses both of those things is going to afford you the lifestyle that you want to live. Yeah. And whether that's money, whether that's time, whether that's all of the above, hard work, whatever it is that makes your lifestyle the way you want it to be. And I heard, even though you didn't overtly say that, I heard all of that in your story. Is you had the life experience, you have a passion for it. I'm gonna guess that you just like taking ugly spaces and making them beautiful.
I do. I really enjoy that. It's one of my favorite things about the business.
Yeah, I do too. I'm just not very good at it.
Well, everything in life takes practice. You got to be willing to put the time in to get better at stuff, and you're never going to get better at it unless you put the time in
and be willing to redo it.
Yeah, go out in your yard and look at things and try to figure out hey, I might want to have a little wall right here, or I'd love to be able to sit out here in this corner of my yard and sit on a bench and read a book.
Yeah.
How am I going to make that space work for me?
Yeah.
So that's how it all starts.
That's awesome. All right, how can people get in touch with you?
So you can find us on the internet, musiccityhardscapes.com or musiccitypondpros.com. If you're looking for a pond work or anything of that nature, just check out the website. There's a contact form on the website. Send me an email. That's the best way to get me. You can also call 615-678-2865 for Hardscapes or 629-215-2349 for Pond Pros.
And we'll throw those in the comments as well. You got any more questions?
I don't.
This is awesome. So I can't wait to go on their websites and check out the stuff that you guys have done. I mean, my goodness, talk about a portfolio, man.
Did you see the last thing we did was worked out at the Tennessee Renaissance Festival?
No, I didn't see that yet.
Oh wow! So we built them a custom mermaid pond.
No way.
For this year's festival. Yeah, if you look on their site, you'll see the mermaids frolicking in the pond.
Heck yeah.
I can show you guys some pictures.
We're going to have to definitely check that out. That should be a yes, it's real. Yeah. Yes, it's a real mermaid pond.
One other thing, really cool thing, we recently rebuilt there's a waterfall on the cigar patio for House of Cards Bar downtown.
Yeah.
In Nashville. It's a 20-foot waterfall.
Yes, I've seen it.
It was leaking everywhere.
It was.
It doesn't leak anymore.
Nice. Yeah, it was leaking since they opened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
Oh
back
my God.
There.
Well, it's we went in and we cleaned up all that stuff around the outside of it. We put a drain on the back to where they can drain it in the wintertime.
Nice.
And we ripped out the liner from the inside, redid all the mortar and made everything nice and smooth, and did black epoxy over it. And then we rebuilt all the plumbing.
Nice.
So it's set up to where it can be maintained easier by the staff. I think it's going to be a much better deal for them.
It's gonna make that place magical, isn't it?
Yes, I think that's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yes, that pun was real.
I didn't catch it.
All right, we're almost to the end of our show. We're gonna go with a pro tip, and Mr. Byard here has that pro tip. So Trent.
Back to you.
So pro tip, You're gonna share one of your secrets, huh? On paver maintenance.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So outdoor living is a huge trend in the landscape field right now, and it definitely improves your house's value. A lot of these houses that you're moving into these days, they've already done this stuff. So you might have a paver patio in your back. If you got a fire pit, you got a paver patio, you got a stone patio. Proper maintenance of these surfaces is 100% necessary for maintaining the longevity of said structures. And you want to provide your home with longevity and with value for as long as possible. The number one way that you can maintain your paver patio is by blowing it off, keeping the leaves off of it. So so in the fall, when the leaves are coming down and all the kids are going back to school and everything's going crazy, those leaves will pile up on your paver surface. And what they do is over time, they get walked on and turned into a biological material. So that biomaterial gets forced down in between the pavers and creates the perfect breeding ground for weeds. And so that's why you see paver patios with weeds sticking out of them.
Even if they put a mat under them,
Even
right?
if they put polysand in there.
Yeah.
It's typically caused by the leaves getting caught on the surface of the pavers. Wow. Number one way you can fix that is just take your leaf blower and keep those leaves blown off all the time. Don't let them sit.
Interesting. Yeah, because they essentially turn into soil, and weeds only need this much soil.
A little bit of soil to grow.
So if over time your polysand starts to turn black, was there any cure for that?
Well, polysand's going to change colors no matter what. There's some other products out there that they're turning to as opposed to the polysand. But I think the number one thing is yearly cleanings. Take your pressure washer and start, in the back and work your way out down the grade and pressure wash off your pavers. Your polysand, if you're using regular polysand, you got about a 3 to 5 year life expectancy on that polysand. So I would say every 3 to 5 years, you'd expect to go out there with your pressure washer, pressure wash out as much of the sand in between the joints as possible and get those pavers, especially if you got moss building up or something like that, and take your pressure washer and clean all that out. And then get rid of that old sand and then wait for it to dry and do your polysand over the top. Now, in addition to that, there's a new product that Technoseal came out with. I think they're out of Atlanta. Technoseal came up with a product called NoCo Storm. And this is a wet cast polymeric sand, which is a complete game changer. So polymeric sand has to go on an absolutely dry surface, traditional polysand. And, these products were tested in places like Texas and Arizona, places where it doesn't.
It's easy to be dry.
Yeah, exactly, be dry. But here in Nashville, it rains all the time.
Yeah.
So getting the polysand on the pavers is very difficult. But with this new product from Technoseal called NoCo Storm, this stuff goes on wet. And it can't, there's not a too wet. You just keep spraying the water on it, and as long as it's wet.
Is it basically a form of grout at that point, right?
It's a form of grout, and you pour it on your pavers. You mix it up with water in your bucket, and then pour it on your pavers and sweep it into the lines, and make sure you just keep it all wet the whole way through. And then when the water starts to go away is when it starts setting up. So that stuff's a game changer.
How much is that stuff?
It's not cheap.
I bet it's not. I mean, polymeric sand isn't cheap, just the regular stuff.
Yeah. But, you might as well spring for this new stuff now with the wet cast. I think it's going to be a game changer for hardscapers all around the world.
But especially in our area.
Yeah, especially in our area. Yeah, definitely.
Makes sense. All right, good stuff, man. Phillip Byard, you guys check out his links. Trent's going to put those in the comments. And he knows his stuff for sure. I only pretend to because I watch YouTube videos. So anyway, Bryan, you got any closing remarks?
Man, just happy for you to go on vacation. Enjoy it.
Yes, I'll be here next week. So I've got one more of these kind of shirts. You just wait. It's gonna be awesome. It zips. Yeah, nice. You got to be real careful with this this forest right here.
Forest you have on your chest.
But it zips. Anyway, I can't wait. I might even unzip it. You just never know. Tune in for that one.
It's not that kind of show.
Quite a cliffhanger.
Things are getting hot in here.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Phillip.
All right. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yep.
Trent cut us off.
I did.
He cut me off.
Now let's take a picture in front of this TV.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to
Did you do your
resource for
podcast
all
thing,
things
Brian?
real estate in Middle Tennessee.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
How'd
Be
that
sure
go?
to like,
really good.
share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty gritty. Primis Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC. Primis Mortgage NMLS number
Can't do one thumb. That's Mr.
1894879, DJ number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.
Oh, yeah. You guys are working on one right now.
Our pool is 2. We've had it. This is our 3rd summer with it. So
Okay.
maybe at the end of the